tonight we got a fellow by the name of Chris Gibbons, and I think you're going to really find his testimony fascinating. So, anyways, this week I want to remind everybody, please go to our SunPowerLED YouTube channel and like and subscribe. When you put a like on there, that helps us get our reach even further, and that's very, very much appreciated. As well, if when you subscribe, you'll be able to see the most, being notified when we upload the most recent videos of any kind. So please subscribe as well. So people, with the attendance tonight, and every time you attend, you get a ballot put in. So if you attend 4 times during a month, every Tuesday night, you will get 4 ballots put in for one of the SunPower LED Ultimates. The device has the 660 nanometer red wavelength, which does a great job of stimulating the blood and going at certain depths. And then when you go to the 810 nanometer, it's a very, very powerful light source that can penetrate much, much deeper because of the wavelength, the longer wavelength. And this device will be given away at the end of the month, and it's a $1,300 device, and it'll be given away at the end of the month. We'll let people know the beginning of the next month who won it. So we'll take a random draw, and we'll see who wins it. We've got a lot of people that were very, very happy that they came to our website and watched our video. And it's amazing how it's worked out so very, very well for these certain people getting one of these devices. So now what we'll do is we'll get into a short little video, and then we'll start a program. PBM stands for Photobiomodulation. Photo being light, bio being biology, and light, well, light coming from some kind of source. In this case, PBM is used to help stimulate healing in the body, whether it's an LED, whether it's a laser, whether it's the sun, but that light comes through the skin layers, and actually the cells are able to absorb that light, converting it to energy, and then there's a host of different processes that are stimulated because of that light. So you can speed up healing, you can do different things that is very beneficial for the cells themselves, for healing, for reduction of inflammation, and a host of other things. Kerber USA is a company that we have set up to promote healing for the US and around the world. We would like to see this technology help a lot of people. We use LED technology where we can provide high amounts of light into the body, and that stimulates healing. I'd like to introduce you to the SunPower LED Palm Ultimate. This device here has the most power of the series of devices. This light can produce a huge amount of light that can enter into the body and help speed up that healing. In this device, we have 2 different wavelengths. It's 660 nanometer, and as you can see, it's very bright, but it's very effective. You will cause a systemic effect with this wavelength of light. The other wavelength is 810. It's not very visible, but it penetrates very deep, and that can help as well reach the target that you're trying to reach. The main part about this light is that we have the power behind it and the large surface area that can reach very deep into the body. We believe that our product is the most powerful LED cluster under the sun. We have specification of this device of 150 milliwatts per square centimeter, and that is over this entire area of 40 square centimeters. It also provides a wall of light that comes through the skin and is able to reach depths that have never been able to be done before with other light products on the market. There's an interesting biblical passage in Malachi 4:2 that talks about the healing that comes from the rays of the sun. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to provide healing with these rays. PBM has also been shown in various studies to be able to help promote healing in wounds such as diabetic ulcers, venous ulcers, and other areas where cuts or burns or other types of wounds are on the skin level. If you have any questions about PBM and how our light device, the SunPowerLED Palm Series, can help you, please reach out to us and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Well, hello everybody. I'm glad you could join us tonight. Now we have Chris Givens with us tonight. And Chris, how did we end up meeting?
At church.
At church,
Yes,
okay.
all my friends in Bible study that were like, you really need to talk to Tom.
Okay, all right. And somebody, as a matter of fact, it was one of the pastors, Pastor Ted, said, you need to talk to Chris. And I think you came over at about the same time.
Okay.
And so then he said you had some back pain. So tell me about back pain.
Some back pain.
Some back pain.
Well, it's my entire back.
Entire back, okay.
Yeah, so lower back, there was a break at my tailbone, so it just caused all the muscles, around the lower back, the upper buttocks to knot up.
Okay.
So it's been 15, 20 years of just knots across my lower back.
And what caused that in the first place?
Childhood trauma and then the military.
Okay.
After that, and I landed on my tailbone a couple times really hard.
And with the military, anything in particular that you think did it, or just some of the workout things that you had to do?
Yeah, I landed on it a couple times really hard.
Oh,
so.
Okay. All right. And then you broke something?
Yeah, so that was a break. I don't know when it happened. I don't know when the break happened. And it probably took 8 years of seeing doctors before somebody actually x-rayed low enough to see it.
Okay.
And then they ended up fusing my entire lumbar.
So,
yeah, so I have a fusion from,
that's not nice.
Yeah, so can't really stretch those muscles very well. I just have to keep them warm and functioning.
Right, right. And so you decided to come down and see me.
I did. I'm willing to try anything.
But at the first time you heard about the light therapy, were you a little skeptical?
I don't think I was skeptical. I mean, it's you come into things like this with high hopes.
Right.
But after dealing with things for so long, it's kind of low expectations.
Right.
So
is this going to do anything?
Right.
Yeah.
And you don't want to have your expectations too high.
Yeah.
So.
And you've been dealing with this like 8 years, 10 years?
Oh, closer to 20.
Closer to 20 years. Okay.
Yeah, they fused it back in 2007.
Okay, so that's like that's 18 years ago.
That's when they fused it, and then the lower back problems were going on for another 5 years before that.
Okay, all right.
So, and then there's pinched nerves all up and down the spine.
Right.
So,
and so the first time you came down here, we got you under the canopy, and you did the large canopy.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, it's 6 of these guys here. It's 6 of the mini canopies, so you can see how large that is. So if you can imagine 2 side by side, and then 3 the lengths, so 3 of these end to end, and it has a significant amount of optical power. That's the red right there, the 660 nanometer, and there's the 810. You can't see that very well, but so he would he laid under this thing like that, and it's a couple inches away from the body, and the optical power out of this is like very strong. This is the same amount of power as comes from the sun, across all the wavelengths, all the spectrum. Across that whole spectrum is 100 milliwatts per square centimeter. Well, this device gives 100 milliwatts per square centimeter on your body. So when you were under it, it felt really nice and just warm, like
Warming.
would you say it felt very much like laying on the beach on the sun, like kind of that?
Yeah, yeah, it's that penetrating warmth that the sun gives you.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a very nice warmth.
It's warm, it's relaxing, calming.
Yeah.
Just being under the lights.
So the only thing different is instead of the wavelengths being from the sun being blue, a little bit of UV, blue, green, yellow, orange, like the rainbow in the back here on the wall, blue, green, yellow, orange, red, near infrared, and then far infrared. We have all of that energy squeezed down in the red near infrared band. Depending on whether you select the red or the near infrared, we got the same power, the optical power. So when that goes on, the red is absorbed absorbed a lot by the blood. It doesn't go super deep and it feels warmer. But when you switch it over to the near infrared, you feel it's a little different sensation.
It is. You can feel that it's warming deeper.
Somehow.
Yeah, and it's not as intense as the red.
Yeah, yeah. And it's not the fact that we're trying to warm, although it's nice feeling.
Right.
The red and near infrared actually penetrates and is delivering energy into the cells. And then the cells can absorb that energy. And when they do, it's like giving the cells high octane fuel. And now they can do all sorts of things and help to heal. And it's not going to replace your back, unfortunately. But when you've got different things that are going on with muscle spasms, those kinds of things, it really helps the body's immune system and everything to start working properly.
Right.
So when you went under the 10 minutes of the red.
10 minutes red,
and
10 minutes near IR.
The 10 minutes NIR. And what did you notice when you first came off of it the first time? This is about how long ago?
Almost a month.
Yeah, about a month ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, under the light, my skin would tingle.
Okay.
It still does when I use it. I can tell when the light's hitting it just because my skin will start to tingle. But then afterwards, I sat down with, you and your guys for about an hour. And going to stand up, I always stand up slowly and kind of stretch when I'm standing up. And I started to do that, and it was no pain, virtually no pain. I mean, I went from a pain level of a solid 8 down to a 2.
Yeah, that is crazy. I mean, I remember the first time. Now, I didn't have the joy of this big of a light that you were under.
Right.
But my first location was a light about this big.
Mm-hmm.
And I fell off a ladder 35 years ago onto concrete from second floor height. Bad flying lessons that day. And I hurt my back. I hurt a lot of things, but I didn't break anything. And then every year or 2 years, I would do something that would cause that muscle spasm all of a sudden just to go nuts. Yeah. And that would be 4 or 5 months of pain. And finally it would start going away, and then it'd be okay again for another year or 2 years. Then it happened. I go pick up a piece of paper off the floor, and all of a sudden,
Yeah. Very familiar with that cycle.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, not that again. Right. And you know exactly what's coming from there on.
And it's going to be at least a month of just intense pain.
Yeah. And so I had just developed a very, very powerful light for another application called photodynamic therapy. And I had this light, it doesn't have to do with pain and inflammation. It's totally different medical application, which I won't get into. But anyways, I had to service this light. Right. So I had to do something to it. So I got it back from the doctor. And just when I got it back, I did my adjustment on it, and or whatever I had to do. And then I did that crazy thing of picking up a piece of paper or something, and all of a sudden the searing pain and everything. And I didn't believe light could do anything at that point. This is like 17 years ago. Okay. And I thought, but at this point, when you're in that much pain, you're like, why don't I give it a try? Maybe
You're
maybe
willing
it
to
might,
try anything.
yeah, maybe it might do something. So I put that light in the back of my chair like that, and I had a bunch of computer work to do. So I
Yeah.
was working on them, and you know, I would describe 8 as a searing pain that is hard to concentrate.
Yeah, 8. I am almost in tears at an 8.
Yeah, it's like it's almost impossible to think
Yeah.
and work. But I mean, as being self-employed, I had no other income. I had to, so I did. I worked on the computer, and about 20 minutes in, I thought, hmm. I moved a little, like
Yeah.
this. You move very carefully when this,
Very, very carefully. Yeah.
and so I'm moving this way, and I'm like, oh, that doesn't feel too bad. And then I get up, like, that's super careful,
Yeah.
getting out of the chair. It's like, oh my gosh, I can almost, at that point, I could almost bend over and touch my toes where there wasn't even a chance of even getting,
Exactly.
like, the closest you can do is touch your knees, maybe.
Yeah.
You don't want to go any further than that. And the dramatic difference where my pain was probably, I'll say around an 8 at the beginning, and at the end of the 20 minutes, it was like down to maybe a 3. And I was like, oh my gosh, every chiropractor, every physiotherapist should have one of these machines.
They should.
They should. What do you think after going through all the stuff that you've gone through? What do you think is the reason they don't have this?
I don't know. I mean, the chiropractor really helped to relax my joints and, get my joints moving
Yeah.
again, but not so much the inflammation.
Yeah.
And throwing the red light on it to where working with chiropractic and using the red
Yeah.
light is,
It's beautiful.
and it's putting me in a spot where I can start to work a little bit more and develop those back muscles
Yeah.
because I need to stabilize the spine. I've been on the couch for too long.
Yeah.
And so I go for walks now and things will tighten up,
Yeah.
going on a walk, or being out for a few hours standing up,
Right.
things will start to tighten up. And I go home and I use the handheld and I just hit the key locations. And in an hour, everything is relaxed again.
Yeah, and so with the handheld, you don't have to have one of the bigger machines. Although the big machines is nice, you do.
It is nice,
but you can actually take the ultimate or the super palm, whatever, and put it on that area and treat. And you saw it. It just releases the muscles. And if you know what muscles, like, your muscles now with everything you've gone through.
Well, there was so much peripheral pain, 2 months ago. It was really hard to figure out where the spot.
But when you when you get most of it down,
and
now you can concentrate on the last fires left.
Yeah. So sitting under the big light, my upper back's not hurting at all anymore. And before it was a constant kind of burning pain across the backs of my shoulders.
Right.
And, that went away. So, that was a bit of a distraction. It would affect what I did with my arms.
Right.
But that hasn't bothered me once in the last month. The lower back, that's the problem area.
Yeah, yeah. But over time, you may have to do this for the rest of your life with the palm light. But hey, then there's life.
It's better than narcotics.
Yeah, and all the other problems or other pills. If you're on other pills, next thing you know, kidneys got problems.
The side effects.
Yeah. So you also found out with sinuses. Tell me a little bit about there.
So before I started, I was getting a headache every day. From the ears and from the sinuses.
Right.
And the doctors down in the States, they did clear out my sinuses. What do they call the surgery?
Okay.
Where they rotor the sinuses.
Okay.
they did do that. But I tend to think it almost causes more problems.
Right.
But yeah, since we started the red light, and I'll use it at home too, just
Right.
on my ears and my face. I would wake up every morning with bloody sinuses, and the bleeding stopped. I mean, almost immediately. Within days of starting, I haven't seen a speck of blood come from my sinuses.
Yeah.
I haven't had a headache.
Yeah.
Nothing debilitating.
Yeah.
And any little one that starts, I just hit it with the red light and
Yeah. Yeah.
It
Now
goes away.
you would use both red and near infrared?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I use
Yeah.
both.
Yeah. Yeah. Just generally we're calling red light, but it's also known as photobiomodulation. Those fancy terms, but
Yeah.
that's the new term that everybody's that is searchable on our website. By the way, if you go to want to learn more about the research, go on our research tab, go down to PBM database, and you can look up over 7,500 research articles that are there for finding out more. But as you've now felt you got a little more life back,
A lot more life.
a lot more
And,
life.
and,
That's cool.
and I've been on my feet a lot the last few weeks. So
Beautiful, beautiful. Getting a little more mobile.
yeah.
That's great.
And it's nice coming into the summer, having started this a month ago, and now all the summertime activities with the kids, right?
Yeah, yeah. And now you can do things with your kids you couldn't do before.
Well, after a month of using it, now I am very hopeful. Now it's like,
Yeah, yeah. This brings hope too, right? The
yeah,
light brings hope.
yeah.
And no, that's cool. That's cool. So what's your friends think about this when you've mentioned about light?
Um,
Skeptical?
a lot of skepticism, from friends and family. My dad, I was down in Pennsylvania a couple of weeks ago, I guess.
Okay.
And dad had just had a surgery, so he was using it on the sites.
Oh, okay. All right.
To see. I was only there for a few days, but I figured a little bit is
Yeah,
better
sure.
than none.
Yeah.
He was getting sciatic pain,
Okay.
and so that did go away, the sciatic pain,
Yeah.
through using the red light, I would say.
Yeah. No, that's yeah. Sciatic hip pain is something that like pain generally anywhere, but yeah, sciatic hip pain. And yes, there'd be those that now what do you mean light? But light is very, very powerful because it can penetrate quite deep. And that's what we have here with our technology.
Right.
And well, Chris, I think it's so neat that you were able to come on the show tonight and talk about your situation, because there's a lot of people out there that wouldn't know that this is real, or they haven't heard about it yet. But I'm hopeful that that this will help others to think about that.
There's one question for Chris. You mind if I read it off?
Go for it.
Okay. It's from Bodwin. He says, how do you treat for headaches? Intranasal or just radiate the face? I've also heard that green light is beneficial for addressing headaches and possibly migraines.
Okay, all right. So I'll mention that, and then how are you treating it with it's red and near infrared that you're using?
Yeah. Well, I've been using it straight on my ear.
Okay, and time, just approximate
Uh,
couple minutes.
with the red light,
Yeah.
3 minutes.
Okay.
With the near IR, a little bit longer, 5 minutes.
Okay.
And I personally, I move it across my face.
Right.
So I'll hit the ear, and the jaw. And
Right.
then I'll hit the sinuses, I'll let it go up my nose a bit,
Yeah.
and I'll hold it there and then, just work it across. I
Okay.
spend a lot of time in the evening using the light.
Yeah, but you can watch some tube with that, do that, or
And
see
that's
something on
exactly
the
what I
computer.
do.
Okay.
And
And one person mentioned about intranasal. It's actually because of the power that we have. You don't have to have something that stuck. You insert in your nose to get some light up into the nose. The light is so powerful that I've done a demonstration where I shine the light on my cheek, and you see the light coming right through my cheek on the other side.
right.
And we've also shown it when I put my hand on one side and shining, you can see the light coming through here. So the sinuses are not that super deep in the
Yeah,
front.
they're very shallow.
Yeah, and so you can treat that. And some people with headaches, you may have to treat this. Other people, it depends on where the tension sets off to cause that migraine. And some sinus areas that may be the trigger, could be jaw, could be any number of things.
And the neck.
Yeah, back and the neck is
muscles across
the huge migraine sufferers that they've treated this area and they no longer have migraines. And if they ever have something kind of starting to come on, they know that's where they've got to hit it.
Mm.
Yeah. So, well, I think this is great. thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Pleasure.
And sometime in the future, we'll have you on when you're doing
Absolutely.
cartwheels. And
That's the prayer, right?
yeah, we'll do the video of you spinning.
All right.
All right. Okay. All right. All the best. Thanks, Chris.
All right. Thank you, Tom.
Okay. 15 years back, I realized that light could make a huge difference on the body. I ended up designing this very powerful light using LED technology. With this amount of very high power density, it can reach through the tissues and travel right to the joints. But the key is that the power density and the area is extremely important to deliver that light into that. The mitochondria receives that light and converts that energy into the cell. So it's like giving the cell super high octane fuel, and they run like a jet, and they're able to do all the things for repair in that. What are the products we have? Well, we have a small device, which is actually large when it comes to light therapy. You have a fairly large area of light and a high power density that can be used for different parts of the body, like your finger, shoulder, back, neck, knees, ankle, anywhere on the body. And then we have what's called the mini canopy, which is about a foot square in size. And then we have our full-size canopy, which is basically 6 of the mini canopies. And then we have another device, which is the helmet, and that device can help for mental issues, for brain injuries, for concussions, for PTSD, TBI, all of those kinds of things. And there's new research out there that shows it could be helpful for not only strokes, but dementia, Alzheimer's, and Parkinson's, and just different brain issues. Our plans are to move this technology into every area of the world where there's pain and inflammation, which is basically everywhere, and to expand that so people understand all the applications where this technology can be used to help them in their health in the body as a wellness device. People are looking for how they can treat themselves without drugs. All right, so now I'll just go into a little bit about the products. I started with we have 3 versions of the Palm devices. We have the Palm Professional, and the Palm Professional is the 660 nanometer red wavelength and 810 nanometer. And then we have the Ultimate, which is the 660 nanometer and 810. Same 2 wavelengths, but like 25% more power. Okay, so you actually feel it. It feels a little warmer. The possibility being that you can penetrate a bit deeper with the more power, or get things done a little bit faster. So that is what the Ultimate has, is the 25% more power. And then we have the Super Palm, which is has the 660 nanometer wavelength, and then we have the 660, and then we have the 1050 nanometer. And the 1050, because it's a little longer wavelength, has the potential to penetrate just a bit deeper. And also, there seems to be some other things that people are learning as to why the wavelengths. There's got to be more research done, and we're hoping more is done out there on why the 1050 nanometer can seem to do sometimes a little faster on some things. So that's with the 1050 nanometer. And then we have the Ultimate. We have the mini canopy, which I was referring to earlier. And the mini canopy has 15 times the area. You can see the hand here. There's the Palm unit. So I'll hold that on there flat. There we go. And you can, the area here is 15 of the Palm devices, with about 12 times the optical power of one of these Palm devices coming out of this unit. And this unit has the 2 wavelengths. It has the 660 nanometer wavelength, and it has the 810 nanometer. And it's a beautiful feeling that you get when you put either one of these wavelengths on, because you're feeling the same energy, as I explained earlier, as what you would get from the sun itself. In total optical power, you're looking at 100 milliwatts or 150 milliwatts per square centimeter of power from our devices. The sun actually gives 100 milliwatts per square centimeter, and that's of all the wavelengths. And we have, so that's UV, blue, green, yellow, red, near infrared. And we have all that power on just the wavelengths of red and near infrared. Red, if you choose red, or near infrared, all of the power. We don't actually mix the wavelengths, like we don't put two wavelengths together at the same time. And the reason we don't is we want maximum power on the wavelength that you choose. We're not trying to have a little bit of this and a little bit of that. We're trying to have as much as we can of 660, or as much as we can with 810 or 1050. So that's why we do that. We also have the helmet, which is 10 of the palm lights, basically in each one of these areas. Now, all of our devices have a specialized cooling system that we have in them. I have a patent pending on it, and that's why I can have this amount of energy coming out of this unit. Now, if I can show you, this here has the, you can, well, it's hard to see, but it has the 10 of these palm lights basically all the way around the unit. And so when we turn this one on, you have the 660 nanometer wavelength, and it has a convenient arm that just lowers it down on top of your head like that, and then you just raise it up and move it off to the side. But that was the 660 nanometer, and here's the 810 nanometer. You can see the little lights right here coming on. It doesn't look very bright, and the only reason it doesn't look at all like there's much coming from it is our eyes can't see 810 nanometer. They can only see it slightly. You see some of the edges of the waveform, the power waveform that is 810 is right in the middle, and there's some other wavelengths that are much lower, like sorry, just a little bit to the left and a little bit to the right, that are much lower on the power. So that's why your eyes can pick up some of that. There's a little bit in there at 750, and your eyes can start seeing that. So that's why you see 810. Now, when you get into the 1050, it's totally invisible. As a matter of fact, we had to put a single little LED on it because first few units that we built just to test and see how people liked it. They said, well, we don't think it's working. We put it on the one way, it's bright red. The other way, there's nothing happening. And I says, yeah, but do you feel the energy coming from it? And they'd say, yeah, we feel the energy. It feels nice and warm, but there's nothing lit up. Well, your eyes cannot see 1050 at all. So that's why you couldn't see it. So we added a little indicator light on there. Now, some have asked us as well, as far as how long do these LEDs last? Well, that all depends on how cool you keep the LEDs. Because of our cooling technology, we're basically keeping these LEDs at around 45 degrees C. So 45 degrees C is not that hot. Be about 120, just under 120 F, and 120 F for these LEDs. They could run that way for 20 years with that kind of temperature. That temperature is they build these LEDs to run a lot hotter than that they can run much hotter, but you don't want to, and I don't want to as well. I want the maximum life out of these things, so that's why I designed them the way they are, that they're maximum cooling, so I can keep those LEDs as cool as possible. Plus, as the temperature of the LED as you drop the temperature, make it cooler, it actually gives you more light. So I want as much light as I can out of these devices. So we got active cooling on this. And we also made these knobby things on here. And we call it the knobby ring. You see, what that does is, because when you're using the red, we have maximum amount of energy there. It'll actually get quite warm on the skin, but we have these little spaces in here, so the heat can leave, so you get some convection to help the air move away from the area, so that you actually get some breathing that takes place for your skin. So you're not putting your skin right against something else and letting it overheat. There's that airspace that allows a little bit of air to get through there and keep the skin a little cooler, which is more comfortable anyways. You're when you go for as far as the temperature of the skin can go up to 42 degrees C. After that, you get to the point where it's like, ouch. And that is the point that our bodies are been designed to tell you that's hot. Don't keep hanging on to it. Well, if you hang on to something that's much hotter than 42 degrees, you'll start, and you keep it there, you will, after time, you will start damaging the cells. So you don't want to get to the point where it's, ouch, hot. You want it to, and you won't get there. The only time you may get hotter, and if it does get hot, you just like pull it away a little bit, like from the skin, okay? But if a person has very dark skin, certain colors of skin can make it hotter. So in that case, just pull it back a little bit. But also, if you have very poor blood circulation through the area, you may find then you need to do much less. Let's say if you found that 2 minutes was too warm, like this, you could uncomfortable. You could do the other side and just go back and forth between the two sides, so you don't overheat a certain area. Okay, so that's how you can deal with the if you feel extra warm area. The only time you want to really cut back on your time is if you're trying to treat your skin, and you want to just stay very short in your treatments, like 1 minute of red, 1 minute near infrared. And if you still feel you're somewhat sensitive, go to 30 seconds. For skin type conditions, you don't need much time. When you're trying to treat, let's say, your fingers or something like that, you're going to need 1-2 minutes of the red and 1-2 minutes of the near infrared. When you're trying to treat, remember, see, I was showing you earlier, see how that light is going right through my hand? That's how red light can penetrate. If we could measure, which I've done on one of the other shows, is I show how the light actually goes, the 810, there's far more energy coming through my skin now. If you could see it with your eyes, it'd be bright red coming out of this side. But you can't see it. So, but if I put a measurement device on there, I can tell that it's far more energy. As a matter of fact, anywhere from 10 to 20 times more light comes through, more energy comes through, penetrating much deeper when you use the 810 nanometer, okay, or the 1050. So I'll get into answering some questions now. So I described the helmet. Oh, by the way, the helmet, we've seen some really, really nice results with different things, like Parkinson's, strokes, concussions, autism. We've seen just a calming effect for those with kids with autism. It just helps them to go from dysregulation to more of a regulation where they're calmer. That's the best way of describing it. And we've seen some other beautiful effects as well. When it comes to strokes, matter of fact, one person had encountered a stroke, multiple strokes, and they were stabilized, come out of the hospital, but they still had this going on, that they were confused. They were just because of it. They went under the helmet, and during the treatment, the person started speaking clearly again, and also their confusion disappeared as they were under the helmet, and that lasted for a while, and they need to keep it up. But even in the first treatment, they were able to see an improvement in their brain stuff, the brain cognitive skills, abilities. So I'll answer a few questions here. So there's a question from Joe. Could LED PBM help heal dental gum regression, possibly preventing the need for a gum graft? Yes, the answer is yes. What it does is it helps the immune system to, even if sometimes the regression is caused by bacteria, you can use the light to actually help with the body being able to control the bacteria better by using light. So you could do it that way, or if you have a specific area, you can open your mouth and use the light, like yawn, like have it wider open and shine in the mouth that way. There is also, we do have a dental probe that if it makes it a lot easier for you and you want to do a little shorter treatments on a specific area, you can use this device and you basically put it into the unit like that, and you just snap it in place. And now what happens is when I turn on the red light, the light is coming down the shaft through this glass pipe, and you can see the light coming right out of the tip there. So just to show you, there's the light going through my hand, my finger, I mean. So you can see it coming right through my finger from here. So it's very possible to treat certain areas with this dental probe that we've come up with. It's this added device, accessory that a person can purchase. And by the way, there's two holes on this. There's a hole once you line it up for the 660 nanometer. When you flip it to, you just change it to the second hole, and now what happens is it's picking up through the 810 or the 1050 comes through the optical probe, and then you just give it a little tiny twist and off it comes. That's how you use the dental probe. So yes, you can, depending on where it is, it may be easier for you to use the dental probe if it's on the inside by the tongue area, on the inside area, or if it's on the outside of the gum, probably is easier just to treat like this. Or if you got more time, if you spend a lot more time on the area, you will get enough penetration through there. So you may be looking at 10 minutes on an area. So 10, 20, 30 kind of thing. And I would spend about a third of the time with the red and 2/3 of the time for the near infrared. Thank you for your question there, Joe. Okay. Budwin is asking, what would be recommended treatment for bone spur on the tailbone if you have a palm device from SunPowerLED? That's going to take time, but I would recommend probably doing five minutes of red and 10 minutes of near infrared. If you can do it twice a day, that'd be excellent. And if you got more time, do it 3 times a day. But we do know of somebody that the x-rays showed the bone spur, and after 6 months, this bone spur had disappeared by doing daily treatment with the light, photobiomodulation. Marilyn's asking, would PBM be helpful for brain injury that's caused by oxygen deprivation? It's possible to help the brain to slowly heal. There's like they've done different ways to show that they can actually improve the brain's function with photobiomodulation. So definitely there's a good possibility there it can help. Anna is asking, okay, we'll come back. Yeah, I didn't just, yep. Anna's asking, can it be used for hair regrowth? And if so, at what setting? So with hair growth, you could do just the red, okay? If you got the extra time, I would also include 1 minute, like So you could do 1 minute of the red and 1 minute of the near infrared. If you have the time to spend on that, if you're short on time, or just the red, you don't really need a lot of penetration, so you could just stay with the red. I think there might be some beneficial effects by having near infrared as well, but most of the research right now is using red for 660 nanometer out there for hair growth, and I know several people that have improved their hair growth from one woman who was bald, pretty much bald, just a little bit of fuzz, and she was able to regrow her hair where she actually had to go to the hairdresser to get it cut. So it's possible. I have another dentist, a senior dentist, who had his hair very, very thin, um, and now has improved the amount of hair that he has coming through. So it's very possible to help that. Gladys is asking, thank you very much, everyone, for your questions here. So, think I'm understanding that when you first used the light therapy, you had not designed it for that. You're absolutely right. As a matter of fact, 660 nanometer, um, 660 nanometer was the wavelength that is pretty much best for penetration, 660 and then 810. But in my case, I actually used 635 nanometer, which was um, the 635, which was the right wavelength to photoactivate the particular compound that's used for photodynamic therapy. And rather than get my program cut from YouTube again, I won't say anything further than some abnormal cells that managed to get rid of in my early days, and it's proven stuff, but can't get anywhere with it at this time. Uh, Tamara is saying about how the separate. Thank you for your comment. The separate wavelengths is brilliant. Yeah, I actually have to use far more LEDs because of that, which also puts the cost up higher. But it's so important to have that. A question came in earlier from another program, and also Anna is asking, do all products have all spectrum colors? No, as a matter of fact, although there is a rainbow behind me, we don't use the blue and the green and the yellow due to the lack of penetration. There's blue is still very much used, can be very helpful for bacterial control when it comes to like surface problems, like with wounds on the top. But red can also very much help the immune system um, to help with bacterial control. So here we got another one. Susan is saying, woohoo, picked up my helmet today. Can't wait to give you feedback. All right, Susan, that's great. Great to see. Okay, Patrick is saying, what can you say about photobiomodulation aiding in hair growth? Which wavelengths are most effective in this regard? 635 nanometer is the most studied wavelength, and because you don't have to go very deep, it's no problem using the red. So if you're crunched for time, even being up a little ways, you're still going to have plenty of illumination, which means you can do a much larger area. So you could just keep moving it, back and forth kind of over the area and do that for 10 minutes. That'd be one way of getting a really significant amount of light to the upper layer of skin, dermis, where the hair follicles are. Okay. I'm just looking here. Okay, and yeah, Okay, let's see. Marcia is asking about Pott's disease. I'm going to get somebody to look that up for me. I'm not familiar with Pott's disease. Here we go. Thank you, Faith, for pulling that up. Postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome is common autonomic nervous disorder, system disorder characterized by an excessive fast heart rate and symptoms of lightheaded upon standing. Oh, all right. I am not sure. I do not know. Sorry about that. Marcia, I just don't have any knowledge of that. If you can do a search, you might want to do just a regular Google search on POTS and see if you put photobiomodulation. Um, okay, let's go on to the next question here. Can Robert is asking, can your device reduce or eliminate bunions? I um, I'm not sure. I can't tell you. I don't know. Sorry. Tracy is asking, has there been anyone that suffered with a pinched neck and help from PBM? One of the issues with pinched necks and others is that you have, thank you, Tracy, for your question, is the muscles, when you have a pinched nerve, the muscles are just pulling even harder on the whole area. And it's kind of like the body's own way of trying to protect, but at the same time, it's also doing more damage long term. And so if you use the photobiomodulation, you can help loosen those muscles and help improve the situation. Kind of like sciatic hip pain is a pinched nerve somewhere along the area, and we've been able to, and inflammation where the nerve is getting pinched, and that helps a lot with those kinds of conditions. We've seen people improve with that. Uh, um, Dr. N, thank you, Dr. N, for your question. Can it help with patients with macular degeneration? A while ago, I had on a Dr. Margaret Naser. She used the light on her eyes for her own situation with macular degeneration, and she used it with 1 minute of the red and 1 minute of the near infrared on each eye with the eyelids closed. That's key. Eyelids closed, 1 minute red, 1 minute near infrared on each eye. And she actually improved very quickly in her situation. She says it was like somebody washed the windows of her house. She could see everything so much clearer after that. Robert is asking another question here. And don't have to say sorry about asking questions. This is what this event is for. So we try and answer as many questions as we can. I have okay, so Boudwin is mentioning that the research of PBMT and POTS and um, dysautonomia is very promising. I have this research. So thank you, Boudwin, for your comment. Robert says, sorry, another can help with tinnitus. We've had people that use the light, 1 minute of the red and 3 minutes of the near infrared, and they have found an improvement, a significant improvement. Now, I can't say it's everybody. We had about 73/4 of the people that have had it have seen a reduction in their noise levels and even total improvement. So it's very possible. There's so many interesting things that are there, including the hair, that it's possible the nerves, you know how there's the little tiny hairs that are in the ear, inside in the ear canal. Apparently, it can actually help improve those as well. It's quite interesting. So, you got everything to gain, nothing to lose by using the palm light on the ear for that. The Somebody commented, thank you, Jen, for commenting on this. If bunions are caused by inflammation, PBM can help, and it certainly depends on the cause. So, if it's a case of inflammation, anytime there's inflammation, I believe that's why we're seeing so many improvements with cognitive issues with our helmet, is because inflammation can be caused by, or sorry, inflammation can be there in the brain, and whether you have strokes, concussions, Parkinson's, TBI, other brain issues, autism, all of it is, or a majority of it is all has a link to inflammation on the brain. So if you can help reduce the inflammation on the brain, you'll be able to improve that at least improve it from where it was. So very, very important to use our product to help reduce inflammation, whether it's up in the brain area, whether it's in the sinuses, or down to the sole of your feet. So yeah, it's very, very good for all those different things. Yeah, so bunions can also, another comment from Jen. Thank you, Jen. Per Mayo Clinic's website, bunions also can form from due to the shape of the foot, foot defect, or a condition such as arthritis. So yeah, if it's a condition like arthritis, if you can reduce some of that inflammation, you probably can improve that other situation as well. How does Kay, I believe that's how you pronounce it. Kay, thank you for your question. How does PBM work with the mitochondria? The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. So you have your cell, and there's inside of it is like the nuclear power plant that provides energy for everything going on in the cells, for division, for you name it, is all by power. They figure most diseases are caused by they call it mitochondrial dysfunction, which means that the mitochondria is not operating at full potential, or because it could be because of lack of blood flow getting to the area. It could be because of lymphatic drainage. It could be, any combination of that. Could be something messed up with your food, So one thing is neat is that the light can go into the cells, and the mitochondria can actually absorb that light and convert it into energy that supplies the cells. So, nobody thinks of it, or not many people think of it, but the trees, the grass, all our flowers, everything outside exists because of the sunlight that's coming down every day. You put a bag over the flower and see how it does with blocking all its light, and you'll see it won't do very well. It'll die. Well, in the same way, our cells are trying to get the energy from what we eat, but if it can't get it, if it can't get the energy, then our cells are very weak, and they're not able to be able to reproduce, to be able to the white blood cells and your immune system can operate at full efficiency. But if you can take light, like the sunlight coming down on a tree, and the leaves, through the process of photosynthesis, convert that light into energy for the tree. Here's the same thing that's happening, but you can do it directly with the light. The light will go in, and the cells can absorb it. It's almost like, I use the analogy, it's almost like putting the high octane fuel in the cells, and the cells can utilize that then and do all sorts of repair functions in that. So that's what the mitochondria is for the cell, and how we can help the mitochondria to function. So I just wanted to say, please remember to go to our SunPowerLED website if you're for general information, and there's videos, there's everything there. But also, please go to our YouTube channel and subscribe, and you'll be able to get the most update videos that we put together. So please subscribe, and if you like a video, like it. Click the like button, because it's very helpful. It'll help more people to hear about what we're doing. So I want to thank everyone for joining us. By the way, we do have a contest when you get into our website. Please visit our website, and there's lots and lots of information there. And also, those that you go to our website, there's also a contest. We are giving away a Super Palm, and that's if you're willing to share, tell others about our technology. We have a way of people, as we get these leads, they'll find out about us, they'll tell others, and because of it, more people will find out about what we're doing. So if you do enter into that contest, what happens is, that's for the Super Palm, the $1,900 device. The first person, the highest person, wins the Super Palm. The second runner-up will get a one-time purchase of 30% off of any of our devices, except for the big canopy. And the next one is 20% off. That'd be third runner-up, and the fourth runner-up, that's a 10% discount. So yeah, we're going to next weekend is a holiday, and we'll be doing some kind of remote message. So listen, all the best to everyone. I hope you have a fantastic week coming up, and I wish all of God's richest blessings for all of you. Thank you for joining us tonight. All the best.